Good good afternoon over there, and from here, good evening. Currently it's 7:16 p.m. right here in Hong Kong, and that's why I'm saying good evening from here. And first, I want to say thank you to Nafisat for the introduction. That was a great one there. And next, I want to say thank you to the Provident Green Club uh, entirety, the executive, the ESCOs, and everybody. I want to say thank you for this great opportunity to, come here and share with you all. And I also we um like to say thank you to everyone who show up today, like the president has said. We believe that this is not just going to be just a participation for all of you. It's going to be a learning curve for you to, scale your business and be able to, if you are thinking of diving into green entrepreneurship, this will be a good opportunity for you to know how to dive in. And of course, if you're already running yours, it will be a good opportunity for you to know how to scale your business. So, one thing to ask is, I don't know if you can see my screen. Can you all see my screen? Oh, okay. Thank you. Um, so I like to use my camera to show my face. Okay, so if you can see my screen and probably see my face also. So let's just dive into our presentation for today. So if you have any question, like our moderator has said, please you can put it in the chat box or you can ask in the group chat. Anywhere is fine. I might not be able to see your question now and respond to them. I believe our moderator is going to collate everything. So for the little time I have to jump right into our presentation for today, which is green entrepreneurship. And yeah, green entrepreneurship. So I titled this as green entrepreneurship, a pathway towards sustainable development. And the things we're going to be diving into today, we talk about green entrepreneurship, the business model, the green economy, and the sustainable practices that you can do to, scale your business. And if time permits, we are going to go into some case studies. So first, we look at green entrepreneur and green entrepreneurship. Of course, we know that entrepreneur is someone who is building is trying to build an idea, transfer an idea into a product or a service for people to use, right? Or is someone who is trying to grow an existing venture. And of course, entrepreneurship, my own definition of entrepreneurship is, creating value across the value chain for all the stakeholders involved. Okay, if you say you're doing entrepreneurship and then you're not creating value in the act of solving problem for people. Okay, you're not solving any problem for people. You're not creating any value. Then you're not into entrepreneurship. Okay, so entrepreneurship is creating value across all the touch points for all the stakeholders. So everybody involved in the process must be able to gain something. Okay, there must be a added value to every individual involved. And of course, green represents nature, it represents growth, it represents renewal. Okay, so then why do we have the concept of green entrepreneurship? So why do we have green entrepreneur? Why green entrepreneur? So the concept of green entrepreneurship actually stems from the issues, the concerns that we have in our day to day that we come across in our day to day living. For example, global warming, pollution, natural resources scarcity, the ozone layer depletion, carbon footprint emission, that the emission of carbon, the GHE, green gas effect, all of these things, and of course, not actually maximizing our potential as human being also. That's part of it because that's part of the social aspect of it. And the economic part of it is that a lot of people are still living in poverty. I was reading this morning uh, that a World Bank released a document, and it got deleted like in 5 hours later time. They deleted it. And what is in that document was that the GDP of Nigeria has actually grown by 2.5% from 2024 to 2025. But then the percentage of people living in poverty increased, over 70%, so from something around 55, 60% before to now around over 70% of people living in poverty. So that tells you a whole lot about the Nigeria economy. Okay. Why the GDP growth, the per capita income, reduces for people across board. So it's a worrisome data when I saw that today. But of course, these are the reasons why we have green entrepreneurs, because these are the problem that they are meant to solve. Okay, so in that sense, so what are then the intersection? Okay, where do we find green entrepreneurs? So the green entrepreneurs are people who are working in the intersection of the social challenges, environmental challenges, and then the systemic change innovation of wealth creation. All right. So, and in this intersection, we have two kind of entrepreneurs. We have the social entrepreneurs and we have the green entrepreneurs. The social entrepreneurs, of course, are just businesses or entrepreneurs who own or use their company to produce social, cultural, or environmental values. Okay, so those are the social entrepreneurs, but the green entrepreneurs are the ones who are actually using, they are creating and managing businesses that focus on providing environmental friendly products, services, or solutions. So these are two different concepts. Why some people can merge the two together, okay, but of course, majority of people confuse the term social entrepreneurship with green entrepreneurship. Those are two things. Okay, a green entrepreneur will definitely be a social entrepreneur. Okay, but a social entrepreneur might not necessarily be a green entrepreneur. All right, so we shouldn't merge or confuse the two terms together. So, but what we are dealing with here, what we want people to do is that we want them to be green entrepreneurs. All right. So when we talk about green entrepreneurs, what are the traits or the core competence of a great entrepreneur? So this is beyond, the competence is more of about this. It encompasses a range of skill, knowledge, and traits which are essential to be successful in this field of green entrepreneurship. So in that sense, one of the major thing is the environmental knowledge. Of course, you cannot say that you want to solve the problem or you want to be a great entrepreneur, but you do not have a key significant knowledge of the environment you stay in. Okay, so green entrepreneurship is beyond you building a tech hub, okay, that's going to scale globally. It's connecting global reality with your local, global awareness with your local reality. So you have to be much more in tune with your local issues. Okay. And then, of course, business acumen, which all entrepreneurs should have. You must be able to network and collaborate with people. And then ethical leadership is very important. All right. So a lot of people don't, leadership is not about using people. For example, leadership in green entrepreneurship is not about using the resources that we have around us to create profit for yourself. Okay. You are meant to contribute to these things. Okay, they are meant to add value to the things that you use, not just so that's why ethical leadership comes in. And then their risk management, it should be innovative. Then another thing that I would like to stress is industry expert. All right, so you should be an expert in this green field, and that comes in accumulating knowledge, working. You stay, someone said something about you spend five 10,000 hours doing something, you become an expert in Outlier by Malcolm uh, Gladwell. Okay, so if you want to immerse knowledge in this industry, then you need to get your hands dirty in the industry. For example, attending conferences like this, or workshops like this, reading things that are related to this, and at the same time, volunteering, putting your hands to work in this industry, get your hands dirty, make sure you do something, get involved in something. For example, this is why we have this platform, the Providence Green Club of Lagos. Getting involved in this club will help you to know more about what is happening in this industry and give you more knowledge. And of course, relationship skill, communication skill lifelong learning, resilience, and passion and commitment. This also cannot be, we can't underemphasize the fact of passion and commitment, because it's beyond what you do. It's more of a passion, it's more about commitment, because you might not get the result or the return you want, of course, in doing this type of thing. So it's what will sustain and drive you forward in this area will be your passion and commitment. Okay, so green entrepreneurship, we've talked about it, are people who are merging, or maintaining environmental sustainability with profit, and then serving as a primary catalyst for sustainable development. These are green entrepreneurship. Okay, so they want to create, you are creating value at every touch point. In this case, which is your social, the social aspect, the economic aspect, and the environmental aspect. All of these are being touched, and you create value across all these touch points for all the stakeholders involved in it. Then you are making a green entrepreneur. And in that sense, it moves beyond the traditional play of just profit. Okay, so we are making purposeful profit, or we are making profit to be purposeful, whichever one. Okay, you are either making profit purposefully, or you are making purpose in profit. Okay, you are making purpose to be profitable, something like that. You are either purposefully profit, or you are profiting purposefully. Either ways, one you should do. This is what green entrepreneurs do. And one of the bottom line that we really care about to know if you're a green entrepreneur or not is that you balance people, the planet, and profit. If you are balancing this in whatever you are doing, then you are a true green entrepreneur. So, how then do you establish, just for those people who wants to start, how do you start? How do you establish and sustain a growing enterprise? Of course, it starts with identifying a sustainable business idea. So you need to identify a sustainable business idea by doing this reality check. Ask this question to yourself and be able to answer them in great details, clarity. Okay, does your idea tackle real environmental challenges? Of course, where it actually starts from, right, is you know yourself, know the gap that exists in the community. All right, so once you know yourself, you know the gap that exists in the community, then you are able to plug in and ask this question to fill in the blanks for yourself. Okay, so does your idea tackle? So you have an idea now to to curb the challenges your environment is going through. So now you want to find out, test the product market fit, or the founder product market fit. All right, so you're doing, does the idea tackle real environmental challenges, and which of them are you tackling? Then what are the biggest need faced by your potential customers? All these questions you need to ask them and be able to answer them in clarity. I don't want to be going through them one by one. You can read them, and the most important thing is that you are able to answer this question with all sense of clarity. Once you are able to do this, then you are on the right track. The next one is then to go into research. Now, when I say do research, I'm not saying go online only, use chat GPT only. That is great, fantastic. You should do that. I mean, secondary research is one of the probable way of doing research. But I'm saying engage in primary research. Get in the midst of the people you want to solve the problem for. Interact with them. Okay. You need to interact with the users. Okay. And of course, the last seminar I had with the people, our people in the incubation program we are doing, I was telling them about the difference between the client, which can be users and customer. Okay, there is difference between users and customer. Okay, customer is the person who purchase your product or service, and the users is the actual person who is using it. So you want to touch base with these two people. Okay, the person that is purchasing the product and the person that is using it. All right. For example, you make a soap, because you feel the soap, or you create the soap that you have their chemical reading, too much chemical in them, and then they are not good for the environment, and then you want to create an eco-friendly soap for people. Now, if you are creating this, you need to ask people, because one of the major ways by which we actually test our product or our service or our idea is to get engaged with the people who are going to be using it. So get engaged with the people who are actually going to use it, okay, or the customer who wants to buy it, because the person who is buying it because he feels this is solving the problem for the users. And the person using it will give you, so both of them will be able to give you the right feedback that you need, so that you don't spend time building something that will not thrive in the market. And even if it thrives, there will be scale. Okay, so this is why you need to do your research. Number one, for product market fit, and number two, to see if it is scalable. So that's very important. And then develop a comprehensive business plan. Don't waste too much time on this. Okay, thankfully in this age and time, any AI will do this for you in 5 minutes. Okay, so don't waste your time on doing business plan. It is necessary to raise fund, for example. Okay, but for me, in our consulting outfit, we do not focus on business plan. We focus on business map. Okay, your map. How do you need to map your idea or the concept of your business, map it out and see where you can, attack the market from. And of course, it doesn't necessarily have to be a one way. So if you create a map of your business, a concept map of your business, it helps you to navigate around, the way map is, right? So a business plan is just for you to be able to, is for a season, which can be tweaked and must be tweaked. But a business map or a concept map of your idea will help you to navigate the path of the business from startup to growth, okay, till the end of when you want to exit or whatever it is you want to do. So, but still, you need to create a business plan, which AI will do for you, and of course, develop a business model. So, on top of business model, we then move to green business models. So, there has been evolvement, or there's business model in the green space has been evolving from the single product, which, for example, we have the eco design, to product business model combination. So in this case, we have the sustainable business model, and then it moves to the circular economy, which it is an entire system and network. So this you can see with time, we are having a iteration of the business model, the entire business model of the green economy or green entrepreneurship. So it moves from single products to product and business, where we have people, come together to do something, and then moves to circular economy, where all hands are on deck. Everybody in this case is putting their hands together, heads together, to make sure that there is profit, the planet is safe, and of course we are, making progress towards the sustainable development goals that we have set for ourselves. So that's the business model that we have. And then we have different types of business model. Okay. Even though we've seen the general business model, how it's been evolving, then we have the business model. The first one is the linear economy. And then, of course, you can know that this linear economy fits into the first phase, okay, the first phase of the business model, where we have the make, take, make, and dispose. So in this case, we just take from the environment, we concord them in, environmental, we concord them together in our, probably the supply chain or the manufacturing settings, and then after using them, we just dispose them, dump them somewhere. But then we move on to the share prosperity. If you remember very well, that the concept of share economy, or the share economy or inclusive economy, came about during, majorly, of course, it's been in existence for so long, but that concept became more popular during the COVID-19 period, 2019, 2020, where you have the share ride more popular, share this, share that. And we know a lot of business thrive on this, like, the what's it called? Airbnb, right? Airbnb in Nigeria, you have I forgot this business, where you can buy things, use things. Okay, people can sell what they used before that they are not going to be using again, to make sure the environment is clean, that we don't just waste things and throw things away. Anyway, the share economy came about, and then we move on to the green economy, which is, of course, to reduce the environmental risk. And of course, then we have the circular economy, which focuses on the restorative and regenerative. Of course, these are the touch points of the circular economy. Okay. Since this is not our focus today, we will not dwell on circular economy. So we move, okay, from each of these business model which I talked about in the last slide. All right. So from this phase to this phase and to this phase, which we have different kinds of businesses, business model in each of the phase. So you can see how we have different kind of business model from the linear economy to the inclusive to the green economy to the circular economy or circular economy, and then now we have the green economy, whichever one. But these two are the most prominent two economy that we are moving into or we are trying to establish our footing in right now. Okay, so then we then move to a term we refer to as the uh, permaculture. So permaculture, okay, maybe you've heard of permaculture before or not, I'm not sure, but permaculture is about creating last-longing systems that do not harm the environment. That's what permaculture is primarily about. So in this way, we are just trying to create a lasting solution, okay, which does not harm the environment, is actually hard to the environment. So that's what permaculture, and of course, it has become ethical guidelines and principles that can be applied to various activities and in different sectors. So it has gone into banking, into fashion, into community development and product design. And uh, permaculture also has different business model. Okay, like we mentioned in the previous slide. So and permaculture has been used in different stages. For example, it has been used in developing the SDGs. It's used in the circular economy. It's used in biomimicry. Biomimicry is a kind of business model or a kind of the circular economy or green economy concept where we try to mimic the environment in creating things that will outlast or outlive us. All right. So that's biomimicry. And the donut economy is more like a share prosperity, something like the share economy. That's what we refer to as the donut economy. All right. So in all of these different business model or economy, okay, we can see the play out of permaculture, which is to create a lasting system that do not harm the environment. And in that sense, we have been able to build a prosperous society with a healthy planet on both local and global scale. All right. So using all this economic, we have been and the principle of permaculture, we've been able to build shared prosperity for each and every one of us. And this is what uh, we are trying to push. And this is one of the agenda, for example, of this workshop, the agenda of Provident Green Club, the agenda, I believe, of all of the people who are actually practitioners of the green economy or the green entrepreneurship in this workshop, all right? That are the most especially those that are on our panel section that are going to be speaking later after this workshop. And also for me, is one of the things that I do. As a business economist, I focus more on helping people become their potential. I just don't want to see potential waste in life. I want to see a situation whereby, you through the entrepreneurial mindset, ability, the entrepreneurial mindset, the entrepreneurial ability, the entrepreneurial behavior that you have, you are able to create something for yourself. All right. You are able to bring out the best out of yourself, whether you are in your career or you are actually an entrepreneur. All right. So we are trying to sustain a life. We are trying to sustain, you know, a business, trying to sustain a system, trying to sustain an organization to ensure that you're building something that outlive you through a cathedral thinking. Okay, building things that sustain, that grows beyond you. All right. So this is what I've been doing, dedicating the last 10 years of my life, and one that I am doing in my current job at HKU, one of the university, which is, I mean, the number 6 in the world. Where I work. So whatever it is, my organization, HCBD Consulting, everything I do is premised on the fact that humans are, a tangible asset. We all have this potential in us that is waiting to be unlocked, and that can be expressed in terms of you going into your work as a career person, It can be in an NGO or it can be in business. And even we even scale it up to nations. Okay. So we want to work with nations where we see the human capital in a country transformed. I was listening to the platform, Tosin Enelorun, that uh, before this program, and he was talking about the fact that it's hard to find um, people to employ in Nigeria, and yet you see a staggering rate of unemployment rate in Nigeria. So I can't, and of course, he mentioned that it can be blamed on two things: the educational system, which we all know, but at the same time, the lack of model for people. Of course, the model that people have around them is a Yahoo person, who cash out and then living a one flashy life, or the girl who is doing hookup, who you see today in Dubai, next tomorrow is in another place, just so these are the things that people see for guys and for girls. And so people do not want to transform themselves, they don't want to grow their human capital, which is a problem. Anyways, that's just by the way. Let me come back to what I'm trying to say here. So in that sense, biomimicry, or permaculture, has served as a unified tool for all this approach. That is the circular economy, the SDG, biomimicry, donut economy. We doing in my own human capital development and business development through different entrepreneurial orientation and other people who are going to be coming up after me in this in this workshop for the panelist section. You will see different things that they have been doing, they've been building, and then you can see an element of permaculture in whatever they are doing. Now, what are the principles of permaculture? The principles of permaculture are different ways. So we have observes and interact. Of course, you observe and you interact with people, the planet, the resources around you. You don't only observe, of course, you also interact with them by engaging in them, whether through community engagement, or you use them to better someone else's life, or you use them to better your own life. For example, you can also grow, go green, think circular. You can grow your own fresh food, whether in eco design or it's a environmental friendly what's it called, makeup, or makeup products, whatever it is they are doing. So observe and interact. Then catch and store energy. So this is another thing that is a principle, underlying principle of permaculture: catch and store energy. And then, of course, you obtain a yield, something like that. That's related to profit, self regulating, and accept feedback. Of course, you self regulate and you don't only rely on your own self regulation, you still listen to feedback from other people. That in a sense helps you to conserve nature. All right, conserve nature through that. And then use and value renewable resources and services. Produce no waste. Design for pattern to details. Okay, you design from pattern to details, and then integrating rather than segregating. Use small and slow solutions. Use value diversity. Use the edge and value the margin. Creatively use and respond to change. Okay, so in this sense, I just want to point out one or two more in this case. So I talk about this already: observe and interact. The other one I would like to talk about more is and use small and slow solution. Okay, this is where efficiency comes in. All right, I will always ask in economics. Okay, we economics, we do not only focus on effectiveness, we focus more on the efficient allocation of resources. Right, we believe that there are endless need, but we have limited resources. And this is where we have the concept of scarcity. And because there is scarcity, then we have to do opportunity cost, where we do cost and benefit analysis. Okay, so when you are doing a cost and benefit analysis, the reason why you are doing a cost and benefit analysis is that, of course, cost and benefit analysis means that you weigh up the benefit attached to an action or something you want to do, and you weigh up the cost. Okay, first you want to align the cost and the benefits. Does the cost, does the benefit, is it comparable to the cost? Okay, does it mean that if I spend this amount of cost to get this amount of benefit, does the benefit outweigh the cost? If not, you don't do the action. But if the benefit outweigh the action, you do this action. Okay, that's cost and benefit analysis. And the aim of this is so that you use your resources efficiently and judiciously. All right. So in that sense, this is where this comes up as use small and slow solution. We are talking about efficiency here. Just be efficient in everything you do. Do not waste things. Don't waste electricity. Do not waste water. Do not waste the resources that you have. Use them judiciously, use them efficiently, such that other people can have something to fall back on and we can have more things to leave to generations yet unborn. We are not deplenishing or depleting the resources that we have. We are actually replenishing them. All right. So that's why we use this is one of the principle of permaculture. And last thing I want to talk about here is creatively use and respond to change. You know, they say that the only constant thing in life is change. All right. So it would then be very insane for someone to keep and continue doing the same thing and expect different results. In fact, that has been described as insanity. Insanity is you doing the same thing and expect different results. So you have to creatively use and respond to change. Change is one of your biggest advantage in life, right? When, for example, consumers are changing, that's why more industries are creating. Change is brought about by AI. That's why people can become richer faster than it used to be before. So change is your advantage. Then try as much as possible to creatively use change and also respond to change. These are the principles of permaculture. Now, these principles of permaculture, the reason why I put permaculture here is that I want you to see it. One of the benefit of using this principle, one of the benefits, we have resilience, we have community engagement, we have, share prosperity. But the one I really want to point out, of course, I didn't put the benefit of using it here, is that it could be a differentiating factor for entrepreneurs. So this is why permaculture and green entrepreneurs collapse. Okay, the war between permaculture and entrepreneurship, this is where it collapsed because these principles, if you integrate them into your business model, which we already talked about, all right, it can help you differentiate your own business. It can help you scale your business. It can be the differentiating factor for you thriving and scaling in the market. It can help you win over your competitors, even though you are doing the same thing. So if you are implementing this as a green entrepreneur, even not as a green entrepreneur, say as a social entrepreneur or even as a traditional entrepreneur, it helps you to win in the market. You have unfair advantage if you are able to implement or incorporate these things into your business model. And of course, this brings us to the business model canvas. Of course, it's the way it follows a holistic approach regarding the relationship within and outside the business. This is what a business model canvas does, right? It shows us the relationship between what your value chain, okay, within the business and outside of the business. This is what business model is. And then this too allows to visualize, access, and adapt your project blueprint, which is your business model, in a clear and structured way while considering the project social and environmental impact. This is where we have the green business model canvas. All right. So just look at this and pick one of the permaculture principle and integrate it into your business model canvas. You will see that this will help you to survive the competition, thrive as a business, build a sustainable business that will outlive you and build a business that contributes to the environment. Solve the problem of the people, contribute to the environment, and then you have a green business. All right. So just pick any of them and integrate it into whether it is in key partner, you want to take one of the principles. For example, use and respond to change creatively. Okay. That's what you want to use as your own business model canvas, okay, as your own differentiating factor. Impute it or integrate it into your key partner, okay, which is whom you will work with. Okay, so when you are looking at people who creatively use change or creatively respond to change, those are the people you are partnering with. Do you think that can give you an unfair advantage or not? Of course, it can, because this is the bedrock of your own business model. And then you have an unfair advantage. It can be in your key critical activity, the things that you do, or key resources, or the value proposition, or the customer relationship, or the channels through which you distribute your product. And by the way, your product doesn't have to be good. Another thing I told the people in our incubation program is that forget about reiterating your product over and over and over and over again, without testing it, stress testing it with your consumers. Like I mentioned before, the most important people in a business are the consumers, the people using your product, right? So let them, whether it's the client or consumers or the users, whoever is it that you are getting in touch with, they are the most important people. So get in touch with them. Don't just build in silo and then take your product to the market, and then you realize that the product you have built, it doesn't fit the need of the people that you are building it for. Integrate them. And that's why also in our own consulting firm, when we teach people business, we try to teach them approach to design. Okay, it's very important your approach to design, to integrate your customer or the people using your product has to be involved in it. Okay, so this helps you to, and I said all of that to say you that your product doesn't have to be perfect. What has to be perfect is your distribution channel. Okay, of course, one way to kill your product fast is your distribution channel, and one way to scale your business so fast is your distribution channel. Now, when I say kill your product is going to die if you scale it, okay, release it to the market without consulting the market before releasing it, meaning there is no market product fit. And then you launch this product at scale through your distribution channel. It's going to fail rapidly because you have not integrated the consumers in the first place, or the users. So, of course, the channel. So just pick one of the, permaculture principle and integrate it into any area or all the area of your business model. That can be your unfair advantage or differentiating factor in the market. Okay, so also we have sustainable business model canva, where the profit, value, and value capture has been introduced. So on this part, we have the value creation. In this part, we rename it as the value proposition. In this part, we name it as the value capture. And in this part, we name it as the value delivery. All right. So this is a proper sustainable business model Canva. Okay. So you can use the green business model Canva, or you can use the sustainable business model Canva, whichever one you're using. Just integrate the permaculture principle. One of them is enough. And if you want, but I would advise you use just one at a time. Okay. Use one at a time and then see if you have the success you want. Iterate based on the feedback from your users, from your customer, and then move on. Okay, so in that sense, I will just green economy. This leads us into green economy. Okay, of course, when we say green economy, we are saying the all when we have entrepreneurs come together. Okay, when we have organizations come together, then we are able to build an economy. All right. So of course, economy is more about the buying and selling. Okay, we have the demand and then we have the supply side of the economy, and then how these two interacts together. And on that side, also we have the social and inclusive entrepreneur. We have the green activity, and then we have the corporate social responsibility part. All right. So this part is the broader interpretation of the green economy, and this part is the narrower interpretation of the green economy. So I'm just pushing this out there. I won't spend more time on the green economy because that's not our focus. Our focus is on green entrepreneurship. But still, you need to know the connection of entrepreneurs, where we have the demand side and where we have the supply side of the economy. Whichever angle you are coming from, this has to make sense because they all work hand in hand. All right. So if the demand doesn't meet the supply, then there is no economy. Okay, so try to focus on where there is actually the economy, where the economy is booming, where it's growing, and you can always your impact can be scaled, your profit can be scaled, and your conservativeness can be scaled. So this is what the message I'm trying to pass across for the green economy. All right. So, and then we have the current economy versus the green economy, where we place side by side what we have right now, where some people in the current economy they focus on financial profit, but for green economy, our focus is more on the sustainable impact. Now, when I say focus is on sustainable impact, in fact, there's a course that I'm teaching this semester. It's called Green Financing, right? And Green Finance and Investing. Okay, so we said that for a green financing to be a green financing, then it means that number one, there are some criteria it has to fulfill. It is that it's actually profitable. Okay, if it is not generating a profit comparable to a traditional economy or traditional financing, then it is not worth pursuing, even though it is green financing. Of course, there has been a lot of discussion around this because we say we are focusing on impact. Yes, if you are saying focusing on impact and we are not making profit, then the impact will not be sustainable. Okay, so that's the argument. All right. So profit has to be comparable to the traditional side, but on top of profit, there must be impact. So we do not focus only on impact. We do not focus only on profit. We also focus on impact. But you cannot be more impactful if you are not profitable. All right. So you see the connection and the dichotomous of green financing or green economy or green entrepreneurship. You focus on profit and impact, creating value for all the people in the touch point. And at the same time, this include the impact you create for everybody, So I feel for me, my definition of entrepreneurship actually fulfills this criteria because everybody participating in this organized setting of creating something actually gets rewarded or benefited, including the non-living thing you are using. All right. So as an entrepreneur, you should not leave something the same way you have met them. Okay. You should not just use and dump. Not people, not living things, not non-living things. That's my own philosophy of entrepreneurship. As an entrepreneur, I believe things that you come across or that come across you should never remain the same. Okay. They should be better than before they meet you. That's my own philosophy of life. That's my own philosophy of entrepreneurship. All right. So these are all the things we have in the traditional model, and these are all the things we have in the green model or green economy. Of course, I know you know most of them, so I won't go through that a lot because that's not mostly what our focus. But of course, you can apply all of this into an entrepreneurial settings. Okay, so though I'm looking at it from the holistic perspective where we have all the buyers, all the sellers into the economy, but also you can break it down into the smaller particles: the entrepreneur in waste management, the entrepreneur in eco design, the entrepreneur in building sustainable building, or for whatever impactful project you are doing. All this has to be wired in it before we can say this is a green business, this is a green entrepreneurship, or this is green economy. Okay, so then let's move on to the practical side of it. So with all of those things, looks more theoretical that we've talked about. How do you then practicalize? How do you apply this into your? The first thing is that, see, to start and grow a green business, there is something called compliance. This is the foundation. Okay, of course, my belief as a Christian is that the Bible says in First Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 3, or 3 verse 11, sorry, First Corinthians 3:11. It says, "No other foundation can be laid except that which has been laid in Christ Jesus." Okay, no other foundation can be laid except that which is laid in Christ Jesus. Okay, permit me, to quote the Bible, but compliance also is part of your foundation. You don't build anything on shady deals. You build on compliance. You have to be compliant with the local laws, with the international laws, and with for example, the Sustainable Development Agenda. All right. So you have to be, and one way to stay compliant is to build trust. Okay, build trust through transparency. Be transparent enough. Conduct environmental audits every time. Conduct environmental audits, social audits. The social, environmental, and the SDG and governance audits. Always do this and pursue certification if that's what you need. And of course, another thing that is very important in compliance is man to tax management. This I cannot under or overemphasize it. Very, very important. Assign tasks to people. What is not assigned will not get done. Okay, there must be a man to task management. I decided to use this word man to task management. At least one person must spearhead your accountability process. So there must be an accountability process in your organization. All right. So if you say we want to get this done, or this is the measurement through which we or criteria through which we want to measure our design, make sure that someone is actually monitoring that. Because if it is not being measured, it is it cannot grow. You cannot grow in it, or you cannot use it effectively. So accountability becomes part of your DNA if you have a man to task management. Second thing I would like to talk about is culture. So, what is culture? Culture is what people do when you are not around. Okay, because you have done it long enough, push it hard enough that it has become part of the vibe of the organization, such that even when you are not around, people follow it normally. It becomes a culture. So, what people do when you are not on ground, that's the culture of your organization. So, you want to build this, and you have to foster this where sustainability is a shared belief. So in this case, the culture of sustainability must be ingrained in your company's way of work, in your company's mode of work, style of work, method of working. This is very important. And one way to do this is to run workshop for people, reward eco-friendly innovations from your team, and also set transparent environmental goals. The goals you set should be transparent because this all begins with you. All right. So we said, of course, everything rises and falls on leadership. An organization actually takes the structure or takes or takes after those people running it, or the leader or the founder. All right. So if things are not going the way you want it to go in your organization, then probably it's because you are not modeling it enough. So in that sense, when you set goals, because you want to be environmental conscious, because you're a green entrepreneur, then greening should be part of your goals. That's culture for you. And of course, when your culture is green, the right talent and partners will naturally gravitate towards you. Don't forget that the most important and appreciable asset a business has is its human capital. All right. So if you want people who are environmentally conscious to work with you, then of course, green has to be part of your culture. All right. So please know how to implement that. Then the next one will be brand visibility. You see, if you are solving a problem for people, but nobody knows the problem you are solving for them, then your effort is in waste. This is why you have to position your brand so that people can actually see what you are doing. So in that sense, you have to display your for example, eco labels, you publish your sustainability impact report, you're actively engaging with your community on environmental causes, just, community engagement through different ways. This is very important because it gives your brand visibility. And of course, you don't also forget your own personal brand. All right. So your personal brand first translate into your business brand. All right. So build the two side by side, but more on personal brand before the business brand. And then, of course, for today's consumer seek brands that walk the talk. So make your commitment visible to every touch point. Next one I want to talk about is storytelling. Of course, share your why. This is very important. We cannot underestimate this point. Okay, share your why at every point in time and be authentic about your challenges and milestone alike. Okay, one of the way people get to warm up to a brand is behind the scene. When you show people behind the scene of what you are doing, okay, how you struggle with things, how the milestone you are eating. These help people to see a way that they could relate with you because they can see themselves in your brand, right? So this helps them to, relate with you. So share your brand, share your why, and also share your struggles. Be authentic enough to share your struggles and also celebrate your milestone with your people. Then I use the word customer cultivation and not customer acquisition. Okay, you acquire customer and you sustain them. Okay. One of the, as a business, I believe one of the metrics you should track is how long a customer stay with you and how much they actually spend, such that you can compare your customer acquisition cost with the lifetime value of a customer. All right. The lifetime value of a customer is how much the customer spend while they are with you. That should outperform your cost. If it does not, then you don't have a sustainable business. So cultivate your customer through upselling, cross-selling, introduce product to them, introduce them to things that can help them so that they can stay with you. And you should have something that make it sticky. Whether you're building a community or you are whatever it is you want to make your customer stay with you, that is what I refer to as customer cultivation. Cultivate them, grow your customer, grow with them, grow with them. That's what I mean. And then think of every relationship as a chance to widen the circle of sustainability. And of course, keep pushing the agenda of the sustainable development goals that you are pushing to your customer. That's customer cultivation. And lastly is your exit strategy. This also, a lot of people do not think about it. That is why they some business die. So think about your legacy from day one. Don't leave it to, oh, I will think about that later in life. Think about it from day one, and then ensure your green mission outlive your personal involvement. Grow this vision in people. All right. So case study, I will just mention two out of all the ones that I have. The global brand Lush. How many of you know Lush? You know Lush. Lush is, an eco-friendly product. Lush is a green company that produce completely natural, homemade, mostly solid cosmetics. So it's a cosmetic product for the use green raw materials. So this is a very good example of a global story of one of the people using AI in sustainable development. So Lush is a very good one. And of course, we have in a local, I won't talk about the other ones. From the Nigeria perspective, we have our own Provident Green Club. One of the major ways by which Provident Green Club is promoting the idea of shared prosperity is through the multipurpose cooperative. Okay, we want a situation whereby we can all collectively grow together, we can all prosper together. And one way we can prosper together is if we do crowdfunding. Okay, you have this to save every month, you save it. While you are earning, number one, you are supporting the idea of green entrepreneurship or green circular economy that you believe in. While you are earning return, okay, you earn return and make impact, right? That's what this cooperative society stands for. And at the same time, you are funding business, okay, businesses that can, we solve different kind of problem for us. It could be a business that is solving, helping us to be more eco-friendly, design or electric cars. These are the things that we care about. Okay, we as an organization or as a club, we want to invest in, and you partner with us through the cooperative society by saving. Okay, will help us to achieve this aim. While you are having a fulfillment that you are contributing your quota to this agenda of sustainable development, of reducing carbon footprint, reducing the greenhouse gas emission in the world. So if you cannot do this directly by starting your own entrepreneurial journey, why not partner with us, the Provident Green Club, through the multipurpose cooperative society? Save some money, towards the agenda of sustainable development. So you can come on board to as a member of Provident Green Club, or if you're a member of Provident Green Club, come on board as a member of the cooperative society and let us be in the agenda of thinking green and switching uh, secular. So this is what I will leave with us, that we should all come on board, on the journey, one way or the other. Come on board on the social development agenda, either as a green entrepreneur or you want to fund some entrepreneurs. You have some funds to fund some entrepreneurs. Come on board with us. Let's do this together while we think green and switch secular. So in this case, I would rest my case here, and if you have any question, our moderator is going to compile them and we're going to be answering the questions through the panel session. Thank you so much for having me today. And I believe that you've gained one thing or the other. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Please, sir, continue the round of applause. Thank you so much, sir. We're really, really grateful. Thank you for that powerful and insightful session. I'm sure everyone here can agree. It was not just informative, it was very practical and honestly thought provoking. So thank you so much, Sam.
You're welcome.
Any
Thank you.
questions?